Radio, thanks for watching, everybody. So we're going on to part two of this interview with Judith Collins in New South Wales in Australia. You were in some great flow about colours in the aura, and you were going to expand on that for us, weren't you?
Yes, because these are most of the situations that we find ourselves in. We all have mood swings. We've all told white lies. We've all been a little bit deceitful at some time in our life, especially with mum and dad. Yeah, so I mean, we've all had these experiences of all these different colours in our aura. Have you ever come across somebody who is just openly optimistic about everything, anything and everything in life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they've got primrose yellow in their aura, usually around the tips of their fingers. Yeah, it means everything they apply themselves into in life, they do it optimistically. It will work out. It'll work. It'll be good. It'll be cost effective. It'll be practical. It'll service people. It'll do all these things. That's the optimistic type of person. But then you've got the other person who is suffering from self-sabotage. And there's many of them out there.
Okay.
That is pale grey, and it's usually around the hands and around the ankles. And as soon as I see that, I know somebody is, I go looking for the dark green, which is mental stress. If I don't find mental stress there, then I go looking for a couple of other colours that might be related to something that's happened to them. Yeah. They might have been a young child who almost drowned. They could have been a woman who was raped, could have been a young boy who was sexually abused. Yeah, you've always got to look to see where those colours are going. When you see pale grey in an aura, it's disturbing because it's somebody who could, those colours with a combination of others, they can start leading to suicide. I was doing an exhibition at one of the big shows. Oh, it was in London. It was in London. I was doing it in London, right? Anyway, this woman came up. She got her aura done. She was very, very excited. And she said to me, she said, would you mind doing my son's aura? He's working on my stall today. And he's been a little bit withdrawn. So I'd like if you could do his aura. And I said, for sure. Up come the 17-year-old son. And because she booked him in, and I did his aura. And I said to him after I did his aura, he didn't know what I was doing. He was just looking at the colours, but I knew what I saw. And so I said to him, I said, look, I said, rather than do the interpretation, because you won't remember it all, I said, why don't we just leave it a bit later when your mother gets a break and she can come up? And so one of my staff on my stall, I said, go down to that stall and tell the mother that we want the father here. I don't care what time, he's got to be here. Okay. So the father came in because this boy was walking the path of suicide.
Okay, gosh.
It was locked into his aura. That was part of his great plan, and it was locked there. And so I needed mum and dad there because he related to both parents differently. He saw mum as the authoritarian. He saw the father as a pushover. And so I needed both parents to be there. And then I explained it to the young boy in front of the parents and said, the three of you have to work this out.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's some of the things that you can find in auras. That's a little bit depressive that way. I think we'll get a bit more cheerful.
Well, fingers crossed some really positive things came out of you bringing that to their attention, and that wasn't a pathway that happened.
Oh yes, I met at another exhibition I was doing. I met the mother again because they had a health food store, and I met them again a year later, and she said he was fine. Because they said, what are we going to do? I said, well, first of all, you've got to get to a homeopath very quickly, like tomorrow, within 24 hours. You've got to do it. And then you've got to get him to possibly psychiatrist, psychologist, maybe a hypnotherapist. You've got to take him down that path. And I said, but before you do any of that, youth counselling.
Okay.
Make sure you find a good youth counsellor and
Mhm.
go through that path, and then progress if you need to. And that's anyway. I met her a year later, and she said he was fine. He was fine.
Good stuff.
And they blamed themselves because he didn't want to eat with the family. He wanted to go take his meals upstairs and work on his computer, and they let him do this, and they let him do it for about 16 months. And he was getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But what wonderful intuition of his mother, when his mother said, "Would you do his aura, please?"
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
Now, how can I ask you? Would you interpret that in some ways she knew how to read something about his aura, that she picked up on something energetically? Because this is quite something I think frequently happens for people. Is people might
Well,
pick up on these kind of things, but they don't know where it comes from. Are those people
well,
reading auras in some sort of ways, do you think?
she didn't. We'll address that. She didn't really pick up on it. It had been a behaviour.
Okay.
He wouldn't take his meals at the table. He wanted to have
Right.
them in his room, and they didn't want to upset him. So they just said, "All right, if that's what you want to do." And she was getting worried that he was not coming down to have meals with the rest of the family. There were 2 other children in the family, and the 4 of
Right.
them would sit downstairs and he'd be upstairs. So she, being a spiritually based person, she thought, well, that's no good for you. It's no good
Right.
for you. So
Okay.
she thought, well, there must be something going on. She'd get his aura done. Yeah. Yeah. So luckily she did. Yeah.
Because it's a
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
yep.
fascinating thing how sometimes you might pick up or sense things within people's, vibrationally from other people, that you might pick up on these things. Some people are more sensitive to these kind of things than other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had one of these shows just talking about people picking up on things, daughter and father. Father's very depressed after he's lost his wife. They were married for 60 years. And so she takes him into the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival. And she takes him deliberately to see me. Anyway, so I did his aura, and I was able to talk to him about his wife. I was able to show patterns of connection, how she's connected to him in his aura, told him what her name was, and he said, yes, that's her.
Yeah.
I was able to tune into the wife. I was able to do all of that. And the daughter, she just felt that he needed somebody who could identify his truth, as him as a person, someone who could give a description of his wife to show him that she was still there.
Okay.
By me describing his wife, he was able to understand that she's still around him, right? Yes. Anyway, I then said to him, I said, so are you having that treated? And he went, no. And I said, there's a reason you're not having that treated? And he said, I want to be with my wife.
Okay.
And the daughter stepped in and she said, that's another reason I wanted to be. Dad wouldn't tell us why his health's declining. He wouldn't tell us anything. So I decided that we would have to come in and see you.
Right.
So I found it, and I said to her, well, do you remember when you were a teenager and you wanted to go to places and your parents wouldn't let you go to those places because they knew that it wasn't safe for you, but you thought you knew better? And you fought them the whole time. But sure enough, as you got older, you were able to go those places because you were more competent, and you were going with friends and so on. I said, this is the journey of your father. Your father has read his children. He has welcomed his grandchildren into his life. The other half of his being has gone, and it's his choice whether or not he gets the cancer treated or not. He'd had cancer several years ago before his wife died,
Right.
and this cancer had come back, and he just decided that he wasn't going to go through all that alone because she'd
Okay.
looked after him. And he was just going to let it take its toll.
Okay.
And I said to him, I said, how old are you? And he said, 81 years old. And I said, well, it's your time now, isn't it? And he said, yes. Well, a year later, I was working at that same festival, and the daughter turned up. I didn't recognise her at the time, but she turned up with an envelope with a card in it. And I didn't open it because I was so busy. I didn't open it till lunchtime. When I opened it up, it was from him. He said, before he died, he said, "Dear Judith, thank you for giving me the freedom. Thank you for talking me through the death, what I would go through and how my wife would be there. Thank you very much for all your help." Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm trying to I'm telling these stories, because then you understand what an aura is. An aura was a blueprint of him and everything that he had happened in his life and what was going on in his life right now. And so you can use, auras should be used not as a plaything, like what color is my aura? Is it green? Is it blue? There's no such thing. It shouldn't be used. It shouldn't be used like that. It should be used as a healing tool, a counseling tool. I like to teach how to see and read auras to people who are in the health industry, school teachers, psychologists, psychiatrists, youth workers, everybody who is working with people.
Yeah.
Because it gives you more skill in how you deal with the people. And I've been lucky over the years that I have taught many of those occupations, and it's helped them a great deal. So let's talk about if somebody's not feeling crash hot, right? You come home from work and you just sit in the chair and can't even bother cooking, and you're feeling a bit down and a bit low. How do you fix it? You don't sit down and turn on the TV and then fall asleep in front of the TV. And we've all done that. We've all done that. You bring color into your life. Now, everybody has colors they don't like and colors that they do like. So whenever you're feeling a bit lost, bewildered, stressed, emotionally insecure, unloved, unwanted, mistreated, misunderstood, lied to, cheated on, whatever you feel, right? There are colors that you can bring into your life that will aid your healing process. And I want to go through some of them. Now, apple green is a very bright, lovely spring and summer color, and it gives you a sense of new life. Colors that you wear on your body give you emotional support, emotional healing, mindful creativity, spirituality. They all work on different things simply because color has a vibration, and that we are an electromagnetic vibration ourselves. So those colors vibrate into us. That's all there is to it. So when you use the color, if you're really down in the dumps and life isn't going for you, you grab any shade of burgundy, claret, maroon, any of those colors. They're the strongest colors in an aura, and after you have got those in your life, they will start to lift you up. You'll have to wait a couple of weeks. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight.
Okay.
You must probably feel it within most probably about 21 days. Some people feel it in about 18 days, depending on what colors. Apple green is a color of a new life force moving through you. I usually give that to people who have gone through broken relationships, very traumatic relationships, fighting over property, fighting over children and custody of children and so on. And I get them into this apple green, whether it's a scarf, whether it's a tie, whether it's socks, very leery socks, apple green, whatever it is, because it's a healing colour. When you get into lemon yellow, which you can put in anything, a jumper, a cardigan, a shirt, whatever you want, however you want to wear it. Lemon yellow is the colour that comes in when it's in your aura. I see it in somebody's aura. I know that they've got a strength of direction, and that's what it does. It gives you a strength of direction.
Right.
So that's a very good colour to go in. If everything is chaotic in your life and you need it to stabilize so you can think, then taupe, just the old dull colour taupe, which can be done in a waistcoat or a pair of trousers or a skirt or whatever. They're just normal colours that you can go into your wardrobe. If, for instance, you are wanting to connect spiritually, but you find your life is so hectic that you just can't meditate, you can't do a thing, then if you get into a reddish, it's really a maroon colour, purple, those two colours coming together, that colour, wearing that colour over a period of 21 days can start to produce prophetic dreams. So you can actually start developing your spirituality through your dreams.
Right.
Yeah. And I've used that I've treated lots of refugee people in the 1980s, hundreds of them. And when I worked in welfare, and that's what I did. I got them into that to stabilize them, just to stabilize them. And how did we do it? We put it in blankets on the bed.
Okay.
So they slept under it.
Okay.
Yeah, just slept under it. Just a blanket on the bed. Yeah. Takes time, as I said, they don't happen overnight. The other colour too, I wrote down some colours to tell everybody. Oh yes. If you want to, you're sick of doing what you're doing, and you think something's got to give, you don't like where you're living, you don't like your job, you don't like the people that you work with, all those things don't work, well, there's only one colour that's going to lift you out of that, and that's crimson.
Okay.
So you get crimson, you have got to be lifting your spirit up, and that will take most probably about 30 days to do that, but that's that colour. If you look in the video, you can see the colour of my floor. See those
Yeah.
they're floorboards, and they're rose mahogany,
Right.
because I know about colours and I know about self-empowerment. So the whole house has got rose mahogany floors all the way through it.
Wow. How cool.
One of the strongest colours you can get in the human aura.
How lovely.
And people walk into this house and just say they come in unhappy, but they leave happy. And I thought, yep, it's the floors, because you're walking all over those floors.
Nice.
All the time. Yeah. So the colours you can have in your life. Mulberry pink builds self-esteem. So if you've been wounded, you've been criticised, and it's really hurt you, then you need to get mulberry pink into your life. Somehow, whichever way it is, whether it's curtains, whether it's sheets on your bed, whether it's something on your skin. The colours work faster if they're on your skin, because here they're inside the etheric layer of the aura.
Right, okay.
And that's where the colours come from. And so the colour here has to vibrate out.
Okay.
Has to vibrate out to the etheric layer of the aura. So let's see what else I've got here. Oh, yes. When you get a bluish purple, if you're on a path of spiritual development and you feel as though it's not moving as fast as you want it to move, and you bring in purple pink, purple blue, any of these shades of colours, you bring them into your life, After they've started to marry in after about 27 days, you'll start to find your intuition. You'll start to think more clearly and open-mindedly and so on. So in my Colour of Life book, with all the books I've ever written, that's my favourite book, because I've dealt with colours in the aura all my life, and I understand how colour vibrations work, especially how they work in healing. And so if anybody wants to know all the colours you can get, well, I'd suggest that you download the book off my website. But getting back to the vibrant colours that we've got is, if you think you need motivation, you need to kick up the bum, right? Because you've been going around and around and around in circles and something's got to give. Well, there's only one colour that will do it: orange. Every shade of orange. Orange will boot you because it's the colour of motivation.
Yeah, I do like
colour
orange.
Of motivation.
I do like orange. It's a dynamic energy, isn't it?
It's a dynamic thing. See, if you look, as I said earlier in the other video, that entrepreneurs, they've got red and orange. Well, what do you need if you're an entrepreneur? You need motivation when nobody believes in you. Motivation when nobody will give you any funds. The banks won't even bankroll you, right? You got to believe in everything. So you need that motivation in your gut and in your mind and in your energy and your tenacity to push through the red, which is your creative vision.
Right.
That's why those two colours there, you entrepreneurs have usually got other colours in there. They'll have burgundy in there, which means that they believe and they've got all the power. Nobody's going to stand in their way if they've got burgundy wrapped around it. That's the colour of self-empowerment, standing up, being your own person, being in charge of your own reality, taking responsibility for it. That's what that is. And that's what I've got all the way through my house. I thought you'd like that, Graham.
I remember you saying before that in a previous house we chosen burgundy, I think, for the bedroom, because you said it was a really good thing for relationships as well, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. If you need to empower things, I've got colours that I give to people who are occasionally thinking of splitting up.
Okay.
and I get them to rework their bedroom, all the colours in their bedroom. Yeah. But as I said, all of that information, we won't go into that, but all that information is in my Colour for Life book.
Yeah.
There was something that we all have to entertain in our lives with people around us, especially at work, and that is inflated egos, right? People who are egotistical, and they're out there. When they're egotistical, they've got scarlet red in their aura. It's usually in their elbows. It's around the elbow, and just around there in the elbow, which is the driving force they've got. They have that scarlet red there, not just to be egotistical, but it gives them a sense of believing and knowing, or knowing and believing who they are and what they should be, even if they're not that person. They come out and they do this big thing. My father, when I was growing up, always had pockets of scarlet red. My maiden name comes from the French Vinet, but in English it's Vine, V-I-N-E. Whenever my father had to fill in a form or someone was filling in a form, my scarlet red father, with his pockets of scarlet red in his aura, would say, "Oh, you spell it V for virile, I for intelligence, N for nonchalance, and E for enthusiasm." And that's somebody with scarlet red sitting in their aura. So I learned to read that big time. Absolutely. My poor mother used to get so embarrassed. So embarrassed. Yeah, so is there anything you wanted to ask me?
Yeah, well, I mean, so you're just sort of saying that the colors that you can choose. So, are you, well, just to summarize, so if you wear some of these colors for a while, you're saying that can directly feed into the aura or help your
Yeah.
aura?
Your etheric layer of the aura, your physical layer of the aura is, let's just my hand, is approximately there, right? The
Right,
etheric is out there, right?
right.
So your clothes are on your skin.
Mm,
That's the most important. That's why I say bedding, sheets,
yeah,
and you're in bed for whatever hours you're in bed, right?
yeah, okay.
That's right. And it's on your skin. And so it's inside the etheric layer of the aura. As the colors emanate around, the colors are made in this. The etheric layer is twin, and the
Mm-hmm.
colors are produced in the twin level, the second
Right.
layer of the etheric layer of the aura. Now they vibrate into your day-to-day reality. They help you choose things. They govern your intuition. They direct you in what you like and what you don't like. They reflect everything that you've learned about yourself. They reflect everything that everybody says about you. It reflects everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we do is we get those colors inside that so that we can balance out whatever that reflection is coming through. Say, for instance, we've got a divorced couple who are violently opposed to each other. Well, we've got to reflect that attitude, because it's debilitating, and it will slow them down. You ever want to see an aura that's got a timeline of destruction, you go and see what I call violent divorces, because
Okay.
it produces violence in the aura, and it can do it for 3 years. They've got a timeline, because once they go through it, which might be 12 months, 16 months, it takes so long to get over it.
Yeah.
So their violence patterns go all the way through the aura.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got
I
to
mean,
choose what we do.
yeah, it certainly can be a challenging time period for people who are going through that and energetically to kind of recover from or to bounce back or to self repair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll
And
give you an example. When the bushfire completely destroyed our whole property, our whole rural property in 2019, it destroyed the whole lot. Was all burnt down by midday, right? And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Paul and I were sitting on a bed in a motel, and he said to me, he said, "What's the best way to handle this?" And I said, "Well, I said, we can only go forward, because we can't go back. There's nothing there. We can only go forward." And I said to him, "When you're down, I'll be up. When I'm down, you'll be up." And I said, "And if we both go down, we'll stay there for the count of 30 and we'll both come up." And he said, "I agree with that." And I said, "And we will work smarter, not harder. We will make sure that whatever we get is an improvement on what we've lost, so that we will never have to look back at what we have lost."
okay, great. Yeah.
Now, I've been interviewed, Paul and I were interviewed by the New South Wales Health Department, Climate Council of Australia, because they just said that our attitude on how we achieved everything has been wonderful, and they made a 4-part video for all the crisis workers that work on all of these climate disasters, all taught by Paul and I. I didn't
Lovely.
realise that would be it, but this is what you have to do. He was aware and I was aware that you've got to be very careful, because these things lock into your aura. They lock into your aura and your memory. So every memory, every step you take has got to be positive, absolutely positive. Yeah. So we made sure that we had more storage. We had more cross ventilation in the house. We had no, because we're environmental, we had no concrete in the house either. So yeah, we did all those things that were absolutely better than we had before.
Mm.
Sure enough, we lost a lot of things. We lost our weapons. We lost documents. Anyway, we lost all the farm animals were dead. There's nothing we can do about that. But we had to stay positive. And this is the example I'm giving you, in comparison to the violent divorce situation,
Yeah.
because those people do not perform well in that whole 3-year period in any other part of their life, and emotionally sucks them in. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they must probably they get locked into confusion with the color fawn, and then the slowness of that confusion with mushroom. So you see all these patterns around them, which are all fawn, mushroom, different shades of red. Raw sienna's in there big time, upsetting everything.
Mm.
There's colors in there that when you see an aura, you go, oh my God, what's going on in their life? Yeah. Then you see an aura and you think it's wonderful.
And do you think people, is it easy for people to, I know you've got a book about how to read auras as well, but do you think it's an important thing for people to try and learn the skills of seeing their own auras, or do you think that that's something that they need externally from somebody like yourself?
Well, I think it's good to develop your auric vision. I do, because I've been doing this for a long time, over 70 years, remember?
Of course.
And so it's like me doing the PhD and everyone starting in preschool, not even kindergarten, right?
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
even
I get
in
you.
school. Yeah, they're in childcare and they're starting there. But we all know that that develops the creative mind, and it starts to develop our ability to learn. So once you do this, once you learn how to see basic colors in auras, that will start to grow, and you've got to allow it to grow, just like we did, you know, all these years of schooling to master what we did before we went to university. Then we had to take on a whole new thing, right? It's the same type of journey. You're never going to learn it overnight. Never going to learn it overnight. Not as fast as I do it, and I'm only doing it fast because it's just practice.
Yeah, it
That's
just
all
comes
it is.
naturally to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and also too because I've been doing it all the time. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So as far as people go, what I wanted to do in this video and the last one was to just show when you're feeling these things, that's what colors in your aura. And why I wanted to bring in the strengthening colors in the aura is because you can start to mend your own life in your own home without taking pills or alcohol or
Yeah.
drugs or anything you've got to do. If you're feeling you're sitting down and you're becoming depressed, and you can't motivate yourself, well, you've got to get some burgundy, you've got to get some lemon yellow, you've got to get some apple green, whichever color you like, doesn't matter. You may hate green, right? You may hate yellow, but there's other colors to choose from. Yes. Yeah. And
Lovely.
they start to heal you. They start to heal you. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what people can do. People can actually learn how to see and read the human aura. A lot of people have had my book over the years, because the book's old. They've taught themselves how to see basic colors in aura, and then it's grown very, very slowly. Like I said, it's a lesson. You've got to let it learn slowly. Most people see, once they start, they see pale blue around all the fingers, pale blue around the shoulders. That's the first layer of the etheric layer of the aura, the first one. So you've got past the physical and you're into the aura now. You've got this pale blue. Everything there is pale blue. The next one has color in it. So if you're getting bits and pieces of color coming through, it's coming through the etheric. Yes. But it might take you a long time to get to the astral.
Yeah. Wow. So what I'm looking at the time, I think there's possibly a good time just to kind of wrap up this second interview, and I give you all my thanks for your time and energy, Judith.
My pleasure.
I hope some people are inspired to get in touch with you for an aura reading and to see how you can help them personally develop and self-heal. So fingers crossed some people will be getting in touch with you for that. I'll just put a pause on the video here so that we've got the recording.